This is the last round of the Villanova Wildcat Open on April 19th. I directed this tournament, but there was an odd number of people for the last round, so I hopped in to play against the person who had a bye in the under section. So Josh is unrated, and he said after the game that he's around 1,000 on chess.com. I am 2,200 on chess.com. Oh wait, my laptop is low on battery. I am 2,200. I'm 2,200 on chess.com. So this game was interesting because, I don't know what his strength is. I mean, I guess he lost the first 3 games of the under section, so I knew that I'm most likely a stronger player than him, but you still want to take every opponent seriously, especially if you've never played them before. He played knight f3, I played d5, and so we both control the center, we're both developing pieces, and now it transposed into a queen's gambit declined. He plays bishop g5 against an early dark squared bishop move out by white. I like to take on c4 and then play c5. That's just kind of my approach to it that I like to play. It's very solid and it's very simple. He plays queen a4 check, and he actually debated a while on what I should do. Should I play bishop d7, attacking the queen? And after queen takes c4, I can play b5, and after a move like queen b3, then I can play c4. And I was like, is this good or is this bad? I don't know. After b5, you can also go queen c2, and now I'm like, is this good or is this bad that I've extended my queenside pawns? In hindsight, I think this is actually a good thing, because maybe I can just take on d4, and if knight takes, I can play maybe just bishop e7. And this position seems solid for black. Other than that, this pawn is hanging. Although what's really interesting is I can go check, knight c3, a3. Although, yeah, actually, I have to take first, then go check, and knight c3 or knight back. If he goes knight back like this, then this is just, I win the bishop. And if knight c3, then I could consider a6 here. And I'm almost tactically winning, actually. Very close to winning here. If bishop takes, then bishop takes. And I guess I'm not winning, but like I said, this is close. I guess in this case he has this check, which looks kind of annoying, but it's not bad, I don't think. I'm attacking the knight, and if he rotates back, yeah, maybe I just don't have enough for the pawn. Maybe I don't. Okay, yeah, I probably just need to continue developing. So I do have to be, so I'm happy in hindsight because this b5 pawn could be a little bit loose. So I'm happy with my decision just to play a bit more solidly and play knight bd7. After bishop takes, I just continue developing. We both castle. After bishop d3, this is where I felt like, okay, I can breathe a sigh of relief. Like, bishop d3 is not an enterprising move. It is not very principled. You shouldn't move backwards when you don't have to, especially in the opening. In a closed, slower position, it can make sense to move backwards, but right now it doesn't really. It almost makes sense in a couple of ways because a6 b5 is a fork threat in a lot of cases, so maybe you want to move one of your pieces back anyways to avoid a fork threat, but still, it's just very unprincipled here. More principled would be knight c3 or knight bd2. Either way, either move, it would also defend the e4 pawn and develop pieces, which is always good. He moves his bishop back, we both castle, and now I'm planning my queenside expansion so I can then fee and kettle my bishop and finish development with a very solid position. He played knight c3, I develop. If he tries to sacrifice his knight or bishop, utilizing the pin on the a pawn, well, I actually have an in-between move, knight b6, guarding my rook, attacking the queen, and so if you move your queen, then my knight guards the rook, and I'm just up a piece. So he played queen c2, I take on d4, and then I play bishop b7. This was a huge blunder here. I should just play knight e5 immediately, but I was kind of playing too fast and I wasn't really focusing, and I was like, oh man, he has, I was just hallucinating that my knight was here and here, but it wasn't covering the c6 square, and that knight c6 would just hit both my bishop and my queen, and that wouldn't be good. But I forgot that the knight e5 just guards c6 and attacks the d knight, and I'm completely fine here. So I really wish I just played knight e5, but I got very lucky that he played rook f e1, not a rook on the d file. If you put a rook on the d file, this tactic no longer works. But now I just play knight e5, and it's impossible for him to defend everything. If he plays knight c e2 to guard this knight, then I can just take and play e5, and this knight is pinned because this queen would be hanging behind it. And I guess this pawn is also hanging for what it's worth, the e4 pawn, but I don't really care about that. So he had to go rook a d1 or something like that, so he can meet knight e5 with, like, I don't know, knight b3 or knight f3, and then and now his bishop's not hanging. But now, with rook f1, if he moves his knight back, then his bishop on d3 will be hanging, of course. So, after I move my knight, he just moves his rook, I take his knight, and now I'm just up a piece. But he gets a pawn for it. And he actually gets some interesting compensation because now all of his pieces are centralized, and he took this pawn. I have to move back. He attacks my queen again. I have to move back, although he did make a retreating move to do that. I was really hoping he would eventually, okay, he played bishop a4 now. I play rook c8. I was hoping he would play bishop f4, pinning my knight to my queen, because it's not a real pin, because I can get out of it with check and then take his bishop. So I was kind of like hoping he'd make me have an easy win like that. I mean, he did blunder a piece, so it's kind of already, he's giving me gifts, but I thought he might give me more gifts, but he didn't. Rook a c8 has a threat. It x-rays the queen. So now this knight is pinned because I would just take, and after takes and takes, so I'm threatening the e4 pawn. So he could play f3 to solidify his position. I thought he would play f3, and then I might play bishop c5 and start trading pieces because I'm up material, so I want to trade pieces. But he plays a3, and so I just take the pawn on e4 because the pawn's hanging. He moves the queen e2. I go knight c4, advancing my knight. And really here, he's threatening to do the same thing to me that I did to him. He can move his bishop on the next move, and he's threatening the bishop and the knight that's behind it because he has his rook and queen lined up on the e-file. I have a lot of pieces on the e-file, and this is what actually creates some tactical opportunities for him. So I play knight c4, getting pieces off the e-file, and now I play bishop d5, getting pieces off of the e-file, but there's still this bishop here on e7. I have to be a little bit careful here. He plays bishop b3, and now it's a little bit tricky because now he's actually threatening to a lot of cases to take on d5 and then take the bishop that's on e7 that's only guarded by my queen. So I thought about rook f e8. I thought about playing bishop d6. I thought for a long time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I actually thought for probably 10 minutes or something like that, or 12 minutes. I thought for a while. I ended up coming with a decent solution. I forget what I was worried about with rook f e8. What was I worried about here? I don't remember. I don't remember what I was worried about. I know in some cases, like, there's bishop takes, and now knight takes, because now a pawn takes, there's back rank checkmate opportunities. So it might have been something like that I didn't like. I don't really quite remember. But I got really scared, and I ended up deciding to play bishop c5, which I thought was the nicest solution, because yes, he can double my pawns, yes, he can give me a check, but so what? After he gives me a check, my remaining pieces are great. This knight on c4 looks like it's hanging, but it's not, because if I take and he takes, then bishop takes f2 check, discovered attack on his queen. I'm doing quite well here. So I was like, okay, so what? I'm going to go rook g8. Maybe I'll go bishop back to e7 to guard my f6 square, my f6 pawn, or maybe I'll play something else. I don't know, but I'm totally fine here. That's what I thought. After bishop c5, he took on c4, I took on d4, and he took on d4, I took on c4. There you go. So we traded 2 pieces at the end of the day, and now I'm getting closer to winning the game. So when I'm up material, I want to trade pieces, so then my extra piece can be more felt. He goes queen e3, I go knight d5, forcing another trade, and so now he has damaged pawns I can start targeting. Play bishop d5, take the pawn on c3, he goes back to d3, I go back to b2, and now I'm going to try to double up my rooks on the c file, or maybe just trade rooks on c1. We'll see what to do. I play rook c2, preparing to maybe double up, and then play rook c1 perhaps. I just got to make sure not to blunder a back rank checkmate. And then he does something a little bit cheeky here. He sacrifices his rook for my bishop, plays queen e8. Of course, if I take, then that would just be an immediate mate, which is not good for me. So after queen e8, I just play g6 and then play queen e7. So a little cheeky, but you know, I understand. Might as well play for tricks. What else is there to do? I play rook c1, forcing a trade of rooks. So then he plays king h2, we trade, I play d4, I'm going to play d3, and then play d2. And life is going to be easy. He plays queen e1, guarding the d3 square, but now I just take on f2. And after he goes queen d3, I give a check, force the trade of queens off, and now I'm going to centralize my rook, win 1 pawn for the cost of another pawn, and just push my other pawn down the board. And here I do a really nice maneuver here. I pat myself on the back here. I mean, this is a completely winning position. I don't have to think, but this is probably the quickest way. This probably leads to the quickest mate. Because I know he's going to take the pawn, but now his king is stuck on the edge of the board, and now I'm just going to promote and queen immediately and get a very quick checkmate. We push, and then now I promote, and I mate. So very quick, very nice mate. And I ended up winning both games, and I gained 3 ELO points because I beat a 1500 in the first round. I didn't play for rounds 2 and 3 because there was an even number of people, and then I played in the 4th round. So very even. But played 2, I don't want to say easy games, but, you know, I was playing people a lot lower rated than me, so got a little bit lucky, and I think I played well, you know, everything being said. So I think I shouldn't have missed a tactic earlier, but it is what it is. I'm going to hit the game review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.